Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this hypnosis session, you're going to be listening to a financially based hypnosis session about debt. And I think debt is one of those things that can be really crippling and almost painful in a way, because it can feel overwhelming. It can feel like a real burden, particularly if you've got aggressive letters coming through the post, or you've got people phoning you trying to get their debts paid. And sometimes you can't see the wood for the trees. And this hypnosis session is designed to put you in a resourceful state, but also to be able to prioritize those things that have the biggest consequences, but also urging you to pay off the most expensive debts first and figuring out your rights and your obligations to see what you can actually do to increase the runway or have more time, because it can feel suffocating with a lot of debt, but equally it can feel liberating and like you're making progress if you start to pay off that debt and you can see the light at the end of that tunnel. This session uses various metaphors for cash flow, but also metaphors for the burden of debt and how to lighten that load. So there's a bit going on here. Some of the suggestions are very, very specific to the client that I was working with that had very specific debt problems. They were a business owner. They also had a buy-to-let property. It might not be that that's your situation. So accept the suggestions that are useful and relevant, disregard any that aren't. And if you do like the idea of a bespoke session just for you, there will be a link in the description where you can schedule that free consultation call. For now, though, find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in that relaxing feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, that's it, just release any tension. And if it's safe to do so, allow your eyelids to close. And as they close, feel a wave of relaxation, starting from your eyes and rippling down your cheeks into your jaw and upwards into your forehead. Feel a wonderful sense of release. That's it. So breathing in that relaxation and exhaling that tension, as you allow yourself to drift deeper and deeper relaxed. Now, that's it. And I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine a paradise beach. Not a standard beach. Pure paradise. Perhaps pure white sands. Crystal clear waters. Perhaps sunshine and privacy. This paradise beach is just for you. And maybe you can imagine the feeling, the sensation of sunshine on your skin. or perhaps a gentle breeze. Feel that sense of ever increasing relaxation. That's it. The kind of relaxation that feels resourceful, wonderful, but most importantly, safe. This is safe relaxation. And I want you to imagine there's a large palm tree giving you shade from the sun, but not obscuring the view of that incredible sea and beach. And for some reason, I'd like you to imagine there is an old-fashioned Victorian bathtub. You know the ones. A freestanding bathtub. The ones with legs. And imagine it with gold taps. But there's something strange about this bathtub. It has 3 taps, not 2. And it has many plug holes. I want you to imagine how you would feel to turn each of the 3 taps on. Each tap represents a stream of income. And maybe one of those income streams is from a business. The work that you do, the value that you create. Just imagine that tap allowing a certain pressure of water to start going into that Victorian bathtub. And then imagine a second tap. And maybe this is regular payments that come in that help in some way. Maybe for bills, maybe for your children. But just understand that that tap can be relied upon. You can't make the tap give you more water, but equally that tap won't dry up. The tap that represents your business, well, that could have more flow or less flow, depending on what happens in your business. And then the third tap, allow that to represent a property. Think of your property, a property that gives you a flow of income, even after paying a mortgage, any essential bills, perhaps insurance. Even after that, water is still flowing in from that golden tap. And it feels reassuring as you stare into this Victorian bathtub to think about those 3 streams of income. And some of them you can't increase too much, but one of them you can. And the tap that represents your property, you realize how important it is that that tap doesn't stop flowing. I want you to get a sense that if the taps represent money flowing into your life, then these multiple plug holes there at the bottom represent your expenses. Some are necessary, and some less so. Some are important, and to others less so. And I want you to think about how this bathtub seemed in the past. Those times when you were spending money on things that were speculative, that you would hope would lead to more money flowing in. but didn't really turn out that way. Money was going out, but not coming in. And I want you to get a sense that sometimes these were one-off payments. And that would be the equivalent of getting a big bowl, scooping up the water in the bath, and throwing it outside the bath. But sometimes you have these regular payments that just need to be made. And these are the plug holes. Money that keeps flowing out month after month. And while it might seem that the ideal thing to do is to just have more water flowing into this bathtub, if there's too many holes and plug holes in this bathtub, it will feel like a hamster wheel, that the harder you work, the harder you need to work. And it dawns on you, right now, there is a priority to plug the holes. And the biggest holes and the most important holes are those that, if those expenses are not paid, it could lead to big consequences. And one of those consequences is that one of your taps stops flowing. Allow it to make sense for you, because you want to break a cycle of water flowing into the bathtub and always flowing out. You want a future where the bathtub is overflowing. Maybe that represents a word like abundance, security, or freedom. And that's all possible. But first we need to plug those holes. So imagine a comfy hammock between two palm trees. Imagine relaxing and just staring into the water flowing from those golden taps into that Victorian bathtub. And the sound of the water flowing takes you deeper and deeper relaxed. That's it. And imagine with each breath, you are switching off the noise of the outside world. And you're turning inwards to a place of calm, of strength, of possibility. Drifting inwards, deeper and deeper relaxed. Your arms and legs feel limp, loose and heavy. Eyelids feeling more relaxed, almost like your eyes are stuck shut. Feeling a desire to drift deeper and deeper still. And I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine that your physical body stays there on the hammock, but your imagination is now walking down that paradise beach, past an ornate Victorian bathtub with golden taps, and further down the beach on those incredible soft white sands. The air is fresh, the sun is shining, but on your back you are carrying a large, heavy rucksack. It's filled with something, and as you walk you can feel its weight. A burden. And maybe it's a burden of rocks and pebbles, heavy rocks and heavy pebbles in that rucksack, and it's been on your back for a while. And you know this weight represents something important. And as you stop and unzip that bag and look inside, those rocks, those pebbles, they represent your debts. your liabilities, your obligations, some big, some small, some urgent, others less so. And up until now, maybe they felt overwhelming, like it's too much to carry. And sometimes you've tried to distract yourself from all that weight that you've been carrying. And sometimes you've tried to lighten the load by cutting back or getting rid of some of those rocks and pebbles. But it felt daunting. But what if today that changes? Today you're not alone. Today you feel relaxed and resourceful. Today you have a plan. You begin to take out the debts one by one. And just imagine a table there on that beach of white sands. Take out the rocks and pebbles, each one representing a debt, and you lay them out in front of you on that table. And some of these represent immediate consequences. The kind of consequences where you could lose something, like a golden tap flowing income into your life. So these get your attention first. Maybe you think of these debts, these rocks, these pebbles as your top priority. The kind of things that could lead to serious consequences if left unpaid. But you don't feel daunted. You feel empowered and strong as you say to yourself, I will handle what matters most first. I will protect my foundations. And then you gather the debts that are charging you the highest interest. It's like credit cards and overdrafts. These are like little piranhas eating you alive. If these are high cost, then you will have a motivation to clear quickly. I want you to get a sense that this game feels winnable, where every repayment here feels like a win, like removing a heavy stone from that backpack. It feels good. It feels lighter. And I want you to think that there are ways in which you can help to clear these bigger debts. Reduce any unnecessary spending. And any income that comes from your business, you earmark it, ring-fence it for your most important obligations first. So now you have a plan, a path, and every repayment buys you more time, a step closer to freedom and security. And as you walk farther down the paradise beach, just imagine an option. You can circle round into a cove, or you could leave the beach and go off into nature. A path with two different directions. And imagine somewhere to the left, perhaps in that nature, you see a shop with unnecessary things. Impulse buys, false promises, and emotional spending. And to the right, you see a sign that reads, freedom. And you smile. Because each time you choose not to spend on something you don't need, it's like lightening the backpack, making you feel more empowered, strong and powerful, where every wise choice you make brings you closer to freedom. And maybe you begin to notice some things that you've had in your life, things that aren't useful, don't bring you happiness, things you don't no longer use anymore. And I want you to think that maybe someone else in the world would value that more than you would. And if that's the case, then you can let it go. And I want you to imagine how good it would feel to send things that you don't need and don't use. And every time you sell something like that, each item sold becomes another stone lifted and removed from your backpack. And then it gets easier, because you've been carrying this weight for so long. The nature of debt is the compounding of interest makes that burden heavier and heavier, like you're being eaten alive. But you're moving in the different direction now, where the burden's getting lighter and lighter. It's getting easier. You are gaining momentum. And I want you to think in your mind. Perhaps you can imagine a holiday that you've always wanted, or a really special meal with someone you love. I want you to think that in the past, maybe they've been used to distract you from the burden that you're carrying. I want you to see them now, not as things you can't have or can't do, but rewards you get for lightening that backpack. You will enjoy them more when you earn them, when they feel deserved. Because every step forward, clearing your debts, lightening that load, is a step towards true luxury. Some people say you can't put a price on peace of mind, of pride, of progress, but you can. Paying off those debts will give you that peace of mind, that pride, that progress. I want you to imagine yourself 1 year from now. I want you to see what's happened when, for a year, you've negotiated good payment terms of repaying your debts. Maybe you've used AI and technology to truly understand your rights, your options, your obligations. A year of prioritizing the most important and costly debts first. And I want you to see a year of doing that. You can see yourself smiling more relaxed, less stressed. See yourself with a thriving business. And I want you to notice somewhere in that future is a Victorian bathtub. But don't be surprised if it has at least 3, if not 4 or 5 golden taps flowing into that bathtub. And instead of many plug holes in the bottom, there's hardly any. And because of that, see the bath rising, a deeper bath, a full bath, perhaps even an overflowing bath. And I want you to get a sense that this is a version of you without a backpack. What was a burden became something that strengthened you. Because you know it to be true that if you were carrying a heavy backpack for years, wouldn't your legs and heart be stronger? because you are wiser now than you've ever been before. And as you lighten the load, you retain the strength and wisdom. I want you to get a sense that some debts with low interest, they're fine to keep. Just keep making the repayments. Small amounts of debt isn't bad. It can even be useful. But overwhelming debt, that can lead to emotional pain and overwhelm. And I want you to see that that has changed in your future. Maybe that backpack is there, but it's empty, or at least manageable. The weight is simply gone. Because you realize something powerful. Every repayment is a release. It's empowering to pay off these debts. These are shackles that have been holding you down. A burden that attempted to break your spirit, but it didn't, and it can't. I want you to see that paying off these debts is like training for a marathon. That even after the marathon is done, you are stronger and fitter than you were before. And as you pay down these debts, you will be wiser, more financially smarter, and more in control in your life than you ever were before. So see that future version of you walking tall, free, proud, empowered. And then return to that beach with a clear idea as to how you can get to that place in your future. On that beach of paradise, you can prioritize what's most important. You feel strong every time you avoid wasteful or unnecessary spending. You enjoy the game of progress. You protect your vital organs, and you use your resources wisely, because you are on the path to financial freedom. You are becoming the person who is free from debt, one step, one choice, one victory at a time. I want you to return back to that version of you there on the hammocks between the palm trees. But notice the bath is rising. Just thinking positively is already making changes in your subconscious mind. But I want you to step into that version of you in the hammock. Leave the hammock. And I want you to feel clarity, positivity, even optimism, that this game is winnable. It's time to leave this paradise beach within your imagination. So take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes, connect and calibrate into the here and the now. That's it. As I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.